Hello everybody, this is Ivy. I'm going ahead and doing another deck creation video here about this Daxos commander. The reason why I picked Daxos is a lot of people don't really realize how good this guy is, but if you can read what he does, it says that he can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. Now, what a lot of times will happen is there's going to be a player that isn't playing a lot of creatures, or if they are a creature heavy deck, you know, unless they're playing like elves or something with a lot of tokens in it, they're probably not going to be able to block them. That's the fun part. And what you're going to see is I'm also adding a lot of cards in here that cause them to be unblockable or allow them to get through or get protection and stuff. So the big advantage with him is that when he deals combat damage to a player, that you can exile the top card of that player's library. First off, you gain life equal to that card's converted mana cost. And then, until the end of turn, you may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Now, I think that's pretty cool. You know, as you obviously get some more mana, you know, built up. I mean, you know, if you pull something from someone's deck that's really good, that's beneficial to you, or it can really mess up the game, or you can use it to attack a different player at the table. It's a real interesting thing to do. I just don't ever see anybody really use this guy very often, but you know what? I can see there's a lot of ways to break this, or you know, make it happen twice. There are all kinds of cool effects you can do with this. So let's dive right into the other 99 cards and see what we got to look at here. So first we're going to hit the creatures. First creature I have here is Rock's Faith Mender. His life link, if you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. So you can see that Daxos over here, he's going to gain you life. So if he's in play, well, you get double the life for it. So that's a good thing. Here we have Heliod, the Sun Crowned. It's indestructible. As long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Heliod isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature enchantment you control. And of course, you can make another target creature gain lifelink until the end of turn. So not only can you give Daxos lifelink, you can get lifelink from drawing cards. So you definitely can get a lot of life gain out of this deck just from as written on some of these cards. So good start there. Now, a deck like this, you have to have her. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. This is a big deal because it definitely slows down your opponent. So they can't, you know, activate any abilities on the turn the creature comes out. If it has haste, this overrules the haste. So they shouldn't be able to attack with that creature if it has haste because the creature's tapped. So definitely Thalia is a kind of must-have in this deck. I don't know if you should attack with her unless you have some kind of protection on her, but I think she's a must-have card in this deck to kind of slow down your opponent's ability to do things on their side. Next card we have is going to be Lavinia, Azoreous Renegade. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, you counter it. There are a lot of cards out there these days that'll allow people to cast stuff for free, or a variety of other, you know, things going on. So, hey, or if they can just, you know, double cast it or something like that, and just for the freezies. Well, at least this will stop some of that. So that's a good defensive card to have. Next we have this guy. Now I put him in here because he's guaranteed to get in. That's the interesting part. So if you want to put some enchantments on him, or some equipment, as you'll see here, we're going to go over the equipment here in a minute, then he's going to get in. So whatever that equipment does, I mean, I don't know many people that have blocking for horsemanship. It's pretty uncommon. So not impossible, but it's pretty uncommon. But of course, when you hit somebody, you can draw a card. So very, very useful. That gets you some card draw and some of the advantages of this Tron deck. So you'll get to take a look and see what we got going on here with the swords. Next card is Sarah Ascendant. It has lifelink as long as you have 30 or more life, which you automatically do in Commander. It's going to get +5/+5 and has flying. So automatically you get a 6/6 for 1 mana. That's really good. Really super good. Plus, you can, again, drop more equipment on it and flies, so it has more of an opportunity to, again, get in. Now, Stoneforge Mystic, it's a must-have in this deck. You have to have this card. When Stoneforge Mystic enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So you're definitely going to grab a really good equipment that you need to put on Daxos or one of the other creatures that are in here. Of course, you, for 2 mana, you put an equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. So any casting costs of equipment that are greater than 2 like that, it's a really win-win. So definitely a must-have card in a Tron build with Daxos. Next card we have is a, let's do this one, Windborn Muse. Biggest thing here is this defense card. Creatures can't attack you unless their control pays 2 for each of those creatures he or she controls that's attacking you. Very useful as a defense. You know, it really slows people down from just overwhelming you. Like if somebody's got a swarm of elves, they say, I made 1,000,000 elves. Okay, well, pay 2 mana to attack me with all your 1,000,000 elves. So, then we have here, flying. You can't be target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Very helpful. It prevents people from targeting you, making you discard things from your hand, you know, making you sack creatures and things. If it targets you specifically, obviously with this card, you can prevent that. Next one we have is Afara, God of the Polis. She's indestructible. As long as your devotion to white and blue is less than 7, Afara isn't a creature. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you had another creature enter the battlefield under control last turn, draw a card. So, you know, if something like that occurs, then definitely a very useful creature to have in play. Also, she's indestructible, so that also helps for it to, if you want to Tron that creature. Another target creature you control gains protection from colorless and from color of your choice until end of turn. I just put her in here. I figured it was a good way to make sure that Daxos can get through and he's not blockable no matter what. Felidar Sovereign, you're going to be gaining a lot of life in this deck. So it's, you know, I mean, if he lasts through the whole cycle and nobody can get rid of this guy, you can keep him alive, well, hey, guess what? You win. Why not? I never understood why people don't like this guy. He was like 20 cents forever. And I'm like, this is a pretty good card if you can keep him out. It's just an annoyance and it pulls something from somebody. It really kind of causes, it's a diversion to prevent, people would rather attack this than Daxos, you know, it's just the way it works. Next one we got is Mengara the Diplomat. Again, another one with lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, I can draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, I can draw a card. So he's got card draw built onto him, which is really useful in a white-blue deck. So very, very helpful like that. Now we're going to hit the Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers, you... I mean, yeah, all I'm going to say is, you know, he's kind of broken, but sure, you know. Each opponent can cast spells only anytime they can cast a sorcery. So you'll never get your stuff countered. Your swords will never get countered. No one's going to, you know, mess with you on your turn. No instants, none of that stuff. You're basically protected on your turn and kind of do what you want. Until your next turn, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. So if you got something in your, you know, in your hand that you want to cast on someone else's turn, you can go ahead and do that. And then, of course, you can return up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment card to its owner's hand. And you can also draw a card. So, again, that's a really good card to have in a deck like this one. Next guy we got is Venser. Exile target permanent you own. Return it to the battlefield under control at the beginning of the next end step. Creatures are unblockable this turn. That's a really good -1. So that's, again, for Daxos to get him through, get some damage in. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, exile target permanent. So if you can get the Planeswalker to stay out long enough, get up to his ultimate, well, maybe, you know, maybe you can get that to work. I don't know if it'll last that long, but it's certainly a good card to have. This is Jace, Unraveler of Secrets. You can scry one and draw a card. Great. Can't complain about card draw. Return target creature to its owner's hand. You can punt something you don't like. Get rid of somebody's commander that's annoying you. You get an emblem with whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, counter that spell. It's really good if you can get him up to the -8, so you never know, right? Next one is going to be Nahiri. You can put a soldier creature token in the battlefield and attach any equipment you want control to it. So you'll see here soon there's a lot of equipment. You may put an equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. Again, another way to save mana cost on casting equipment. So speeds the equipment into play. You can equip it to the creature faster. You may put a colorless equipment artifact token Sunforged Blade into the battlefield. It has indestructible. A quick creature gets +5/+5 and has double strike, and the cost is 0. And if you wanted to, you can make her a commander. It's kind of cool. Next one we got is Moo. Now, the reason why I like this card is that its +2 is making something unblockable. So the goal is to make Daxos, again, unblockable. He probably is going to be most of the time, but there are going to be times if all 3 players have some way to block him in some way. Honestly, you might want to use this to make him unblockable. The -3 is drawing 2 cards, so you can't beat card draw. You gotta have it. So you can tap all creatures your opponents control and then take an extra turn after this one. That is so really good. If you can get her up to 10, sure, why not, you know? As long as you can get people off of him. Now here's the most important stuff. This is a Tron deck, so I think I'll put swords around because yeah, kind of on theme. So we're gonna have a lot of swords. I think you know what swords are all about. You attach them to the creature. So first sword is Sinew and Steel. The equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and red. Whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target planeswalker, up to 1 target artifact. Really annoying. Sword of the Animist. This one, creature attacks. You may search a library for a basic land card, put it in the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. A really good equipment card for ramp to get cards out you need for mana. Dark Steel Play is indestructible and makes basically your creature indestructible. So you put it on Daxos. He's never going to leave the battlefield ever. So basically he's a permanent staple. If you can get this card, which is a Fabricate in here, so if you can go fetch his card, then you put it on Daxos, you're good to go. He's never going to leave the battlefield. Next one we got is Sword of Vengeance. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. And of course you can equip it for 3, whatever. Next one we got is Sword of War and Peace. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and from white. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of War and Peace deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in his or her hand, and you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. Kind of cool. More life gain, more stuff to shenanigans your opponents. So pretty cool. Hero's Blade, I like this because it's obviously a legendary. It's your commander, so when it enters the battlefield under control, you can attach it to it for free, it looks like, according to this, and get to +3/+2. It's only at 2 costs, so if you got a legendary, which you do in commander, just gonna attach for 2, so you can tap a Soul Ring and get that on them. Sword of Feast and Famine. You get protection against black and from green. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. Amazing. So good. Swords are really good. No wonder they're definitely worth something. Now this Warhammer, whenever he deals damage, you can gain that much life. So if you start stacking on top of Daxos, you can life gain yourself really well just with that, if you haven't done it with other creatures and things. Sword of Body and Mind. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, has protection from green and from blue, green and blue. I will tell you, I've equipped this and done some amazing things with this. I beat a bunch of people with this one card on Daxos, believe it or not. Whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you put a 2/2 green wolf creature token in the battlefield, and then that player puts the top 10 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. It's nuts, because I've had people's win cons go right dumped into their graveyard with this, so they couldn't tutor for it, they couldn't fix themselves, because what they needed went into their graveyard. Equipped creature can't be blocked except by walls, so again, makes him unblockable. It's a cheap way to get him unblockable again. This gives him Death Touch and Lifelink, so if you didn't already have Lifelink, he's going to get with that too, so... Or you can put that on one of the other creatures if Daxos already has Lifelink. Sword of Light and Shadow. Protection from white and black. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life and you may return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Whisper Silk, just gives him, he's unblockable again, and it gives him Shroud, so nobody can target him at that point. He's untargetable. This is just dupes one of your weapons, or dupes an artifact, obviously. Or equipment, excuse me. Any equipment on the battlefield. If you want 2 swords, well, there you go. You got 2 swords now. And you'll see another thing, too, where you get a 3rd sword of the same type. Now, Hammer of Nizan. When Hammer of Nizan or another equipment enters the battlefield under control, you may attach that equipment to target creature you control. So, free attaches. Just if you can get this out first, it's going to attach. Or if you want to, best thing to do would probably be to fabricate to this, get this out, and then just start popping out equipments. And if you can do that, well then, that's a good way to, you know, speed out equipment. Next one is Phyrexia Metamorph. Now, I put this on there because you can copy any artifact or creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact in addition to its other type. Gives you a lot of leeway here. You can have a 3rd sword if you really like the 1 sword you have and you're hitting in. Like if I wanted to mill somebody for 30 cards, I would do this, and then one of the other one, the Masterwork of Ingenuity, and then you have a triple of that same sword. So, and a creature with +6/+6 on it. These are just generic artifacts. What's really cool about this one, you can pay 2 and target triggered ability you control. Maybe you can copy it basically and choose your targets for the copy. So, okay, so on Daxos, if you look at him real quick, it says whenever Daxos deals combat damage to a player, exile Tupper. So if you do this, you pay the 2, you double it. So you do it twice. See where I'm going with that? Why that's you gotta do it with him. You can see how really cool this deck's gonna be. Soul Ring, we know what that does. Now here's the enchantments. These are auras. You want to put them on Daxos or maybe one of those other creatures that can get in. Enchanted creature dies. Return to the battlefield under owner control. It can also be attached to the creature at the beginning of the next end step. So he comes back in. This gets reattached. He's basically infinite. He never leaves the battlefield. No commander tax. It's a win-win. This is a great card for defense. Now, I don't know how many people know this, but you can take this bug, 0/1 insect, and has indestructible. You can turn someone's nasty commander into this. So if they have a janky commander that pretty much gives them ability to do whatever that's really annoying you or trying to win the table, you can lock down their commander or lock down a really important card and turn it indestructible. So even if they try to kill it, board wipe it, or get it off the board, they can. It's indestructible. So it locks down their creature permanently, basically. They don't get their commander back if you use this guy on them. Same thing with this card. So this is a offensive, you turn somebody's either commander or a really good card into or a planeswalker, let's say, if it's a really good, like, I don't know, Jace, or some planeswalker that's really good these days. You can just turn them into a basic land that only produces colorless mana, so it's really good stuff. We got Angelic Destiny. You want to put this on Daxos. Creature gets +4, has flying and first strike, and is angel in addition to other types. When it dies, I can return this to my hand, so I never lose the enchantment. It's kind of cool. Steal the Godhead. You put it on Daxos, gives them +1 and lifelink, and of course makes them unblockable again. You see the point. You gotta have this one. 8 mana. If you can get up to the 8 mana and drop this on there, oh boy. +10, +10, plus trample and Annihilator too. If you can get it, I've won games with this thing. I've literally won games with this card, and that was it. Game over. Indestructibility. You can see what it does. Seems indestructible. Can't be removed from the battlefield. So the whole idea with this Tron deck is really to keep the guy on the battlefield and make sure that damage gets him like it's supposed to. Now we got By Dent of Thasta. When it deals whenever you deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So obviously he's going to get in probably. So you'll get your damage. You'll get your card. Creatures you control attack this turn if able. Kind of good way to mess with the other creatures or make especially the other players and make them have to, play their creatures. Test of Endurance. There's a high probability you're going to get up to 50 lives, so it's an enchantment. It's hard to remove. You're probably going to get the 50 lives, so if you do and it makes it to your turn, you win. Automatic win con. Propaganda, defense. Again, you can see what it does. It makes people pay 2 to hit you. Sphere of Safety, amount of enchantments in play. Yeah, so you can really stack this. So if you have, let's say, 5 enchantments in play, some of them being defense cards makes it impossible to hit you. Same thing, another defense card. The whole idea is there's not a lot of creatures, so you're going to want more defense. Keep people off of you for a while. True Conviction. Creatures you control have double strike and lifelink. So he cuts in twice. See where I'm going with that? And he gets the lifelink. So, ooh, that's pretty good. And again, there's other creatures that can get through and become unblockable, so you can do it more times than you realize. Smothering Tide in a white deck, I mean, it's kind of a must. I don't know that this card is ever not a must in a deck that runs white. We know what it does. I'm sure you know what Smothering Tide does. You can read the card. Free mana. Okay, so Spear of Heliod. If I get damaged by something, I can pay the 3 and destroy that creature. You know, if it's not protected or something. So I put it in there as, again, another defense card. Sigarda's Aid. You can see where I'm going with this. When an equipment enters the battlefield under control, you may attach it to target creature you control for 1 mana. That's so good. 1 mana, and then just equipment comes out, automatically attaches to a unblockable, indestructible Daxos. Equipment, and you get in. It's good. It's a Tron deck. So, all right, here we got our sorceries. First sorcery I'm gonna talk about is this one. We've got Finale of Glory. Make some soldiers, or you can make some. You know, you make some angels. Good to have some stuff just pile into the battlefield if you need the extra blockers. You have some troubles with things are getting kind of ugly out there. Just destroy all the creatures. Of course, if you're low on planes, well, you can go get them. If you know your opponents control more lands than you, if you have this, you're gonna get some free planes. Fabricate is pretty much a must-have because it's a tutor for an artifact. You're probably gonna want a tutor for maybe the hammer or maybe just something that allows you to pretty much, you know, start pumping out equipment like crazy. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and do this one. This is not many instants here. You can turn a creature to someone's hand. We can go ahead and say that this one, I had it laying around, so I figured I'd throw it in just for the heck. Target player can't play instants, interrupts, sorceries, or abilities requiring activation cost. And of course, you can draw a card. It has a little card draw on there. I was like, well, it's a counter with a card draw. I'll keep it. Let's try it out. This one, counter target spells. Controller can't cast spells this turn. Definitely, again, trying to slow people down. They don't see it coming, they get countered, and it's annoying. Silence, your opponents can't cast spells this turn. Very useful. And of course, this is a card draw card. You can gain some life and draw some cards. But you can see there's win cons for having a life, so that's kind of in synergy with the win cons. Now, we're almost done. We're just going to hit up some lands. There's nothing too crazy here. Cathedral War. Just get a +1 on them and kind of helps a little bit. Temple of the False God, extra mana. Academy of Ruins is really good. You can put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. So somehow if your stuff gets countered and put in your graveyard, you can go back and go get it if you have that. You can see that it makes them unblockable. I guarantee it's a great card to have on a creature you need to get through that needs to get damage in so you can start casting other people's stuff. That's the whole point why there's not a lot of sorceries and instant in here. Because I'm going to pull something from other people sooner or later. It's just going to happen, you know. Moorland Haunt. You can exile a creature card from your graveyard and make a thing. And, okay, it might work for something. You never know. If it's, you need the blocker or something. Reliquary, in case you draw a lot of cards. Scry 1. Temple of Enlightenment. Obviously a Shockland. No big deal. Pathway. Obviously a white-blue pathway. You're going to want to put that in there. Commander Tower. Nimbus Maze, I think you know, Celestial Colonnade. These used to be called like Manlands or something. You turn it in, it's like the best of the Manlands. You can create a 4/4 elemental with flying and vigilance. So it's kind of cool because if you want to get those swords in, you can attach it to land. So you turn this into a 4/4 flyer and then attach some of that stuff to the land and you have an attacker with it. Kind of cool. Port Town. And last but not least, it's going to be this one, Glacial Fortress. So, there are some upgrades I would make to this deck. I just don't have the cards or the money to buy them, unfortunately. But these are just cards I ended up acquiring over time. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed my Daxos deck. I've been playing this, I at first thought it was going to be like a really lame experiment type deck, but it actually turned out really good. I won a bunch of games with him and Tron, and I'm sure there's even better ways I can improve him. So if you got any suggestions, just in the comments, drop me some cards. I may have them in my collection, or maybe I can just maybe get them off a TCG player or something. So hey, if you like this video, make sure to like it. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll be glad to make more videos like this in the future. You're going to see more deck construction videos for Commander. It is my favorite format because it's very social, very fun, and we can have in competitive decks, or you can have just fun decks. So I hope you guys keep playing Magic. Hope everything's going great in your world, and stay healthy out there. Thanks a bunch. Bye now.